Thanks for joining me for some destruction and construction here today on the Daily Bread Bible Study. This is day 249 for Saturday, September 5th, 2020, focusing on Ezekiel chapters 39 through 40. In Ezekiel chapter 39, Ezekiel again is speaking against the region of Magog. In verse 6, I will send fire on Magog and on those who live securely in the coastlands, and they shall know that I am the Lord. My holy name I will make known among my people Israel, and I will not let my holy name be profaned any more. The nations shall know that I am the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. After the destruction of Magog, the Israelites are called to purify the land by burying the dead bodies, which even some of the buzzards get their fill from. Now, all this is again a reminder that God tears down and builds up, and that's very important for next chapter. But in verse 28, closing this chapter, then they shall know that I am the Lord their God, because I sent them into exile among the nations, and then gathered them into their own land. I will not leave them behind. I will never again hide my face from them. When I pour out my spirit upon the house of Israel, says the Lord God. All of this is good and fitting, for consequences, but at the same time, destruction only has its limits. Construction's the harder thing to do. It's the harder thing to be able to create something and give it life, and to be able to raise up and lift up and bring hope that comes with that. So in Ezekiel 40, we see that Ezekiel is brought back to Jerusalem in a vision. In verse 2, he brought me in visions of God to the land of Israel, and set me down upon a very high mountain, on which was a structure like the city to the south. When he brought me there, a man was there, whose appearance shone like bronze, with a linen cord, and a measuring reed was in his hand, and he was standing in the gateway. Then God speaks in this next section describing the dimensions of the temple. So if you're really big into all the numbers and the different measurements and every that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go over that quite in detail that way, but I'm just going to hit some of the highlights about all these measurements. But what fascinates me more is imagining the scene that Ezekiel, he knew the Temple of Solomon. He knew the first temple. And being called to prophesy against the city also meant that he was called to prophesy against this impressive structure, the Temple of Solomon. Now, Ezekiel knows that the temple has been destroyed, yet God can rebuild a building. God can even rebuild people as well, which is what God is looking to do here in the next couple of chapters. The cooler image that I see with Ezekiel is that he gets to walk around the temple. And I imagine that as he is walking around there in the temple in this vision, that he just sees the rubble and the destruction of everything as it exists, because the Babylonians came and utterly destroyed the temple. But yet, there, as he's going around with this man with this reed in his hand to measure with, imagine he gets to see a transformation of things. He gets to see not rubble, but walls, and have this image of very ornate structures there in the temple, that they come and flood his mind, and he's looking and seeing what is coming up. Ezekiel's mind is being opened from viewing things as destruction to seeing the future as a reality. That's my hope for you this day as well. I know it's a little bit short today, but even with that, I hope that you're able to get a glimpse and a vision that God is able to come and give you a vision for what the future could look like, of how the ways in which that any destruction in your life that you've experienced can be transformed, that God can rebuild that part of your life that needs to be rebuilt, and let go of those things that need to be let go of. May God be able to grant you vision to see that, and may God walk beside you and try and come up with a plan for how to get you there. So have a wonderful day. I look forward to talking to you next time.